Hey, Kennis Russell here. Today I'm going to do a review of this guy. This is a bass guitar, the SR505 by Ibanez. That's the Sound Gear 505. And the Sound Gear series, I think, has 3 different levels. There's a 300, a 400, and a 500 series. This is the 500 series and the 505 because it's a 5-string bass. I bought this bass for our church a couple years ago. We had somebody that was playing and they didn't have they needed a better bass guitar. And so I went to Music Go Round, found this guy. I paid, I think, $300 for this. Now these, I think, retail in the stores for more like $600 range, maybe even a little bit more than that if you're buying them new. And I think they have a newer model that has a couple additional features to it than this guitar has. But so this is a few years old, so you might be able to find these on Craigslist. They're pretty common on there. And this is obviously, like I said, a 5-string bass. It is a active bass guitar, so you need to have a battery in it. It's going to have a little bit stronger of a signal than a passive bass. Starting out from the input jack, the input jack's kind of in a weird place. The angle that it has it at, it's kind of hard to sometimes get your plug in there. And if you have an angled plug, like it's a right angle, I've actually had some 1/4-inch plugs that won't even fit in there. So that's kind of an interesting way that they've chosen to do that. However, if you plug it in like this around your strap, it's actually very well suited at the angle that it goes there. And I imagine that was probably part of their reasoning behind that. Instead of making it, you know, something that goes straight in or underneath here, this just kind of slides in like this. So a bridge here, and you're going to do a lot of adjustments on the bridge to set it up and to kind of fine tune it. The controls, it has a overall master volume here. And then this is a tone or a switcher between the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. So if you're like all the way back here, you're all the way on the bridge. If you're all the way forward, you're all the way on the neck pickup. And it does have like a little notch that you can tell exactly where the middle is. That's how you're going to blend them. It doesn't have 2 separate knobs, volume knobs for each one of these. It's just, this is your neck and then your bridge. Okay, then these 3 guys down here is a 3-band EQ, and what that's going to do is you've got your low end here, your mid, and your treble, and these guys also have a notch that you can feel right in the middle. But so you can dial in the tone on this pretty well. So if you really want a real low end, you can crank this guy, lower the treble, and anyway, you can dial in your tone pretty well with the EQ here. And I usually just keep the volume all the way up. And I personally like to play with either all the way on the neck pickup or on both pickups going. I very rarely will play just with the bridge happening. The wood doesn't have a like super shiny finish. You can see the grain of the wood in it, and it looks like it's just kind of a basic stain happening. So there's not a lacquer that goes on this. It has a real shiny finish on it, which I personally don't mind, but some people may. The pickups, like I said before, are active pickups, and I think that's really what the main difference is between the different series of, you know, in the SR series that Ibanez does of the 300 versus the 400 and 500. I think mostly the pickups are what they're adding and improving on to make it worth the higher money. Overall, it's a real light bass. I have a American Jazz Fender, and this is significantly lighter than that. So if you're a smaller guy, the weight is really an issue. Even if you are a big guy, I mean, if you're playing for a long time, if you lose 1 pound of your bass, that can make a big difference. So the fretboard, it's a great fretboard. I feel like I can play through it very smoothly without having to kind of like work real hard. I'm actually more of a guitar player, and this feels more like a guitar neck, like a standard guitar neck than say like a jazz bass does. It has a real good feel to it, and I think you could do some really cool runs on this as well. It's a 24 fret neck, so you can get way up in here to these guys. It feels really good. It feels nice and smooth as you're playing it. I really like the size of the neck. I'm not having to stretch real far in order to get down to this B string, and it just seems real smooth. Everything just seems real smooth. You can do some good slapping and popping on this guy. I'm not a big slap pop player type thing. I'm more of a kind of a vintage tone guy, but you can get those tones out of this. I would say this is one of the most versatile guitars, bass guitars I've played, just simply because you can get kind of like passive vintage tones, and you can get more rock tones out of this as well. Tuning keys up here. I'm going to go up here. They tune pretty well. This bass stays in tune. From my experience, I think this is about, I'm not sure how old this bass is. I'm going to guess maybe 8 years old, maybe even 10. But I've had this for 3 years, and it stays in tune pretty well. You know, there's times where I put it in a case and haven't played it for months, and I'll pick it up and it's pretty even well and pretty good in tune. But the only problem that I've had is that the screw came out of the strap at one point, and I had to fix that. I actually have a video on YouTube of me doing it to this very guitar. Another problem that I had on this is, it's not really a problem, it's just kind of an issue, but the back here, it doesn't, where the battery goes into, it's not a battery casing that just snaps out and then you can put a new battery in it. You have to unscrew the back of this in order to get in there for the battery, to replace the battery. So you're gonna need to keep a Phillips head screwdriver in your bag or in your case, just in case you need to replace the battery to be able to access this. They should have put one of those little clips that you push in and then it just flips out. But anyway, overall, this is a great bass. Let me just kind of give you a couple of the tones out of this. Playing this just out of the Ampeg BA115, which is a pretty decent amp, but it'll give you kind of the idea of these tones that we got here. All right, that was on the middle. Let me just go ahead and do a little bit. I'm gonna put it all the way on the bridge pickup and just try my attempt at some slapping. All right, well anyway, hopefully that gives you a decent idea of what this guy can do. You know, for the money, it's a really great guitar. You're talking, you know, less than $1,000 and you'll have a very, very versatile instrument. You can get a lot of different tones out of, and that's what I really love about, what I really look for in a good instrument is the versatility that it can provide. And this is a very, very, very versatile guitar. So I do put my stamp of approval on this guy. I haven't had any problems with it. Like I said, other than that strap coming out, but that could have been from, you know, that could happen to any guitar basically. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you like this kind of content, please like, comment, subscribe, and please share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching.